guys? Are you on?
Check, check, check.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was too cozy to go back out in the rain.
I do accounting and green energy procurement, and I love Lowell and sustainability, so that's why I'm here. Jay?
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Jay Mason. Nice to meet you all. I was the chair here for about 6 or 7 years, I guess. I was on the Sustainability Council for 16. I care deeply about Lowell and its progress and its ability to thrive and prosper and be sustainable and equitable to its citizenry. And I thought I'd stop in and see how things are going.
I'm Cynthia Hagan, and I am the energy coordinator for the city of Lowell. I'm fairly new. I've been here about a year, and that's me.
Catherine Moses, I'm the Sustainability Director for the City of Lowell. I've worked for the city for 10 years. I've been the director for 1 year, and we just implement all of the above strategies to address climate change and adaptation and resilience.
Jay Tobin, Energy Manager for the city. Been here about 6 years. Got about 30 years experience in facilities management.
Kevin Soleil. I have lived in Lowell for like about 10 years now. Went to UMass Lowell originally. I'm having a family emergency and I'm going to leave now.
Okay, sorry.
And I'm sorry if that ruins the quorum bit, but it's important.
Yeah, hope everything's okay.
All right.
I'm safe.
Best of luck.
Take care, Kevin.
Thanks. Thanks, Kevin. Good luck.
Brian Molinari, been a treatise, been living in Lowell for 20 years. Relatively new here, but trying to figure out what's best to do for Lowell. think it's a good place to be.
Should I go now? Yeah, please.
My name's Liliana. I've been living in Lowell ever since I came to the United States about 24 years ago. I was in the energy industry for about 15 years. I did home energy assessments in Massachusetts. I've installed solar systems in schools in Dominican Republic and Haiti. And I wanted to give back to the Lowell community and be here. I think I've come before. I remember Jay. I've been to a couple of meetings before, so yeah, glad to be back.
Thanks for coming. We'll go into the computer and I'll, maybe Ryan, Cormac, and then Vic, if you could introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
I think you've got maybe Mary in the waiting room.
So is Mary Charlotte?
She might be.
Okay, because that person didn't register and given some of the challenges, can you just?
I'll text her.
confirm that that's her?
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, I can start off. Hello, my name is Ryan. I've been on the council since, I think officially since June, but I've been kind of attending since April. And yeah, I'm pretty relatively new to the Lowell area. I'm from Ohio originally, came out here around 2021. And so, I'm just kind of excited by what's already been done out here and just excited to see, what we can do moving forward for climate change and also, waste management and like reducing solid waste and how we can, create a better world that is more sustainable. So I can pass to Cormac.
Hey everybody. Sorry, not able to be there in person. I came down with something and I figured best to not pass it on to you guys. Yeah, I've been on the council for many years and sort of on it to try and push as many sustainability initiatives forward for the city and help in any way that I can.
That's her.
Hi, I'm Vic Boys. I live in downtown Lowell. I moved down here 3 years ago. And I was introduced to the Lowell Sustainability Council through Jay Mason, through 350 Mass. We're in 350 Mass together. I don't have any background in sustainability, but I'm really interested in recycling and composting. And I actually had my interview with Catherine and Melissa today, so hopefully I'll be a member soon.
Yay.
Yeah.
Hey, Mary, we're just doing intros. If you can quickly introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Mary Wamboi and I am a Lowell resident and I am happy to be at the LSC.
Thanks, Mary. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for saving us, Mary. Kevin was here but had to run out for a family emergency, so we have a quorum, so we can keep going. And I think AC just joined us. Hey, AC, I don't know if you want to quickly introduce yourself. We have a new prospective member here, Liliana, and so we just finished doing a round of intros. If you could take a second.
Okay, forgive the look, first of all. I was
great.
going to drive up to our Auburn office today, and because of the rain, I just didn't. Anna Christina Fagoso, and I've been with the council, I don't know, 4 years now? 5?
Probably more.
Yeah, probably.
Plus.
It was pre-pandemic, so you're right.
All right.
And-
well,
Oh, no, go ahead. I
you
didn't
can-
hear how
maybe
other
you can-
people introduced.
Maybe you can share a little bit about what you've been doing with the recycling subcommittee or something, like what your most interested subjects are.
Well, I am interested in the recycling committee, we're not still having regular meetings, but we've been meeting with, the current director. He's brand new, so he's a little bit busy, but once he gets into it, we're gonna start pushing for regular meetings again to get the recycling program. And it's just a way of collecting information from him so we can use it to educate people. However, whenever we have an event or if we have a booth somewhere. I'm very interested in sustainability in general. I'm an Envision sustainability professional as well. And I love that program. I'd love to push that program more, but I think Catherine, did you say you were gonna do it?
Which program is that?
Is Catherine there? I can't see. Everyone's so tiny.
Oh, sorry, Anna
Oh,
Christina. What was the question?
If you're on the Envision,
I am not on that yet, but that is still something I will look into.
awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on this rainy day. So I think we're all in very good company. So it's wonderful to be here with everybody. So we'll start with our first agenda item, which is just the minutes for approval. If you haven't taken a moment to read them, please go ahead. And I think we're just looking for a motion to accept the minutes from one of our official members, which would be myself, AC, Cormac, Mary, or Ryan on this call.
I can motion to accept the minutes.
Second?
All right, Ryan seconds. All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, any abstentions? Any opposed? All right, motion passes. So let's go on to our continued business, the polystyrene, AKA styrofoam ban draft letter. Ryan, why don't you take this away?
Yeah, sure thing. I'm wondering, does everyone have access to like a copy of that draft?
We'd sent one around, but we don't have a print.
The city doesn't have access to the Google Drive, so we couldn't make any copies of it for the meeting, so.
Okay. Next time, next time in the future, if you're sharing something that needs to be printed, can we send it to you as a PDF? Would that be the best? Okay. Future reference.
Okay. Yeah, will do. Sorry about that. For now, could I like share my screen? Would that be possible? I've got it on my computer.
Okay.
I think you should have the ability to do that, if you want to try to
Great.
share.
Okay, let me just check here.
Approved people in the meeting can share their screens, but nobody else.
Right.
Nobody else. Sorry, Catherine. We're gonna joke about that for a while.
All right, can you guys see that?
We can.
Excellent. So, yeah, I put together a letter, and so for those that are not familiar, basically, the push here is to ask the city of Lowell to look into the feasibility of banning the use of expanded polystyrene disposable, or I should say styrofoam. I'm just going to put that in here. Disposable food containers by the city of Lowell restaurants. There's a little bit of background here about just the harm that they do both to excuse me, people and the environment. So one of the key ingredients in polystyrene is considered is styrene, which is considered a probable carcinogen by the World Health Organization and American Cancer Society. When heated, it can leach from polystyrene containers into food and beverages. And so like if they're using styrofoam for cups for like hot drinks, like that can be toxic. It also biodegrades really slowly, so it's considered like non-biodegradable. We've in previous meetings talked about people like frequently seeing this in the river, the Merrimack, and in like the soils surrounding it. So the next little bit here just provides some kind of a foundation for what other municipalities and states are doing, that many other municipalities have already enacted a ban on these disposable food containers. There's just some language that I've borrowed from other ordinances from other towns that have done this, like what is a disposable food container? What is a food establishment, meaning like restaurants that serve things. So there was a concern in the past about making this equitable for small businesses. And I sent out a draft to a lot of different orgs and people around getting feedback. So like I had some focus groups with local schools, Butler and Greater Lowell Technical High School, and they had like their own kind of sustainability groups, and then just other community members. And basically from what I've heard, and we can, discuss this, a lot of people, we had two options. One was an exemption for small businesses, so that small businesses, no longer had to ban the substance because it was less expensive. The other option was a two-tiered phase-out time period where smaller businesses would have 2 years to adjust to the ban, whereas larger businesses would have 1 year. And then along with that, the kind of penalty would be smaller for those small businesses as well, like a half quantity penalty.
I have a quick question, just while you're going.
Go ahead.
How is this enforced? Who enforces this? Like, would it be a food inspector, or how does it get enforced?
That's a good question. My understanding is that it's enforced. I'm gonna pull up my little draft, like a full-length draft of a model ban. This is largely inspired by the plastic bag, and I'll go to Mary in just a sec here. Plastic bag ban, and there was enforcement for that was, let's see, responsible to the city manager or other designee, so that they would decide how that works. I'll go to Mary.
So I get why we would not want styrofoam, but I'm a little ahead in reading the letter, and it does not appear to me that the organizations that actually use styrofoam, which are like a lot of Brazilian restaurants, like where I went to get food this afternoon, Mexican places in Lowell, West African places, Kenyan places for food, were not part of these focus groups. So if we are voting, I'll be abstaining from the vote.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, I would love to kind of bring that to everybody. So now that you've mentioned that, I guess, yeah, we basically went over the content of it. So maybe I can turn back to the whole group and we can put up for discussion I guess Mary has, it sounds like you're making kind of a motion to reach out to those restaurants. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah. So before pushing this through as a letter, does anyone second that, wanting to reach out to those? And maybe we could create like a list of some restaurants to reach out to. Does anyone want to second that motion?
I'll second the motion, but reach out to the groups, but is there a representative restaurateur or a group that can be involved?
I think
When
it's
you
Rather,
Restaurants Association, but it might be worth, like,
there is no one?
oh, there's been a focus group done with restaurants for something else in the city, I think, that the city manager did. I forget what it was.
Yeah, but I'm talking about very underrepresented
Yeah.
groups in the city of Lowell. It doesn't matter who we met, when we met them. If you did not meet with this specific folks or a representative sample, they are not represented.
Okay, I'm all for this idea. I just thought it would be easier if it was an organized group amongst themselves, small business. I don't know if they do anything like that. It's not a world I know.
I can speak a little bit about that because I agree with Mary a little bit about that. She's kind of also talking about a lot of these places that it's like a convenience store in the back, they're serving food. I think it would be great to maybe ask about what would be their barrier to complying if this passed.
Yeah.
Great. Yes, that that could be, maybe we could draft a list of questions we would want to ask to different restaurants, including that. I see Jay. Go ahead.
Hey, great. Thank you, Ryan. I was just wondering, before we even worry about the focus group, is it possible to identify a container that would be just as cost-effective as styrofoam? Is there something out there that we can say, look, this is the same cost, just switch over and eliminate the chemical hazard?
Yeah, so I've done some research, some snooping around. Here, I'm gonna share again really quick. I'm glad you bring up, alternatives. I'm just gonna pull that up. So I put together, from what I could find online, some alternative products. So for example, like an 8-ounce cup, polypaper is basically the same cost, like those paper cups that have some level of like plastic in them so that they don't like disintegrate since they're paper. Recyclable PET plastic, which, it's still plastic, but it is recyclable, is a little bit higher. And then BPI certified compostable for an 8-ounce cup it's almost like twice as expensive. So not necessarily saying everyone has to be compostable, but like the styrofoam, is toxic. 50-ounce takeout container. I would love if anyone could find an alternative for like a 50-ounce container that is similar pricing. And I so this is per 1,000 units. I did some math and made it the cost of a single cup just to get like a sense of what we're talking about like per unit here. So if we're looking at like an 8-ounce cup that's made of polystyrene, they're usually about 4 cents, versus polypaper being 4 cents, PET plastic 5 cents, compostable 6 cents. I also reached out to some restaurants that I knew were using alternatives. So Life Alive is using like a lot of compostable products from Imperial, Brewed Awakening, Earth Choice has compostable to-go boxes, and World Centric is another brand that they're looking at. So yeah, that's what I've got so far. But if anyone wants to also do some research, that could be good. I'm seeing Mary. Yeah.
I think one of the other things that needs to be part of such a proposal is a guide for small business from the city. And the question is, maybe to Catherine, I mean, how does this kind of a ban fit in within the city operations, and how well do you work with your small business office? Because there's gonna be, it's not just going to happen like the ban and then everything goes, you're banned and all that, but there needs to be a guide, and there's some work that needs to happen within the city of Lowell to make the ban effective. So how would that work?
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the challenges of kind of trying to implement something like this, because as I'm sure everybody here is aware, I feel like for even existing services, staffing is limited. Now, I know we do have a very robust economic development team that often interact with our different small business communities. I don't know, though, that they have the capacity to fully kind of try to educate people on such a ban, but I imagine that if this letter went forward from the Sustainability Council, of course, it would have to go through the different levels up the city. It would go to the Solid Waste and Recycling Coordinator, the DPW Commissioner, the City Manager, the Law Department. And along the way, there might be challenges that are identified to implementation. And I think those kinds of things, I just don't know what I don't know. And I don't know, I think within that process, we could also reach out and see what kinds of outreach there can be. But I think I guess I would just have the group consider, the impact that you're looking to have in the broader sustainability landscape, and if this is the right avenue to have that impact. But like I said, as the group comes to a consensus on it, happy to push it up the different parts of city government, but I don't know right now. I mean, if the city manager, his designee, is supposed to be the enforcement, I'm not sure how that works. I would imagine it would fall under solid waste and recycling. They do have some enforcement actions. I don't know if this adds another layer that would be easily incorporated, or if it just creates another kind of thing that you have to do that you hadn't planned for. And I think that's where the vetting of it through different city departments would come in. I don't know if that answered your question, Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been precedent set in other cities or towns like this one that have done something like this?
Ryan, did you hear that question?
Yeah. So there have been 65 municipalities in Massachusetts that have passed. 65.
Have already done this?
Yes.
Doesn't seem impossible at this point. Right?
Do you know what the staffing capacity and the relative volume of the styrofoam was there? And because, Lowell's a different kind of city. I don't know what these 65 cities were, if any of them were gateway cities, if any one of them were constrained budgetarily or staffing wise, if they have a lot of restaurants this would impact or a few restaurants. Do you have any data on that, Ryan?
Concord is number one, surprise,
Just
surprise.
write up and then see what challenges that come after that, or I guess just like get it going. Like there has to be, just get the ball rolling on it and see where you come up with, challenges after the fact. I mean, for 65 other communities to do it, it seems like we should be able to make that happen.
It seems like we also want to do, and Cormac has his hand raised, but it seems like we also want to do some more reaching out to places that use styrofoams that are small businesses too, to just engage with them a little bit and see what the concerns would be. I don't think we don't want to have any unintended consequences to something like this when we're trying to do something good. Cormac, you had your hand raised, and then Mary also has her hand raised.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, so I mean, um, some of you know that my wife Mo had a food truck, and so we were pretty, we looked at all the different options for disposable containers. And I mean, it's obvious that styrofoam is going to be the lowest cost. And I think that the mission or the goal of this, thanks Ryan for putting this together and kind of spearheading it. The goal isn't to find small businesses and or even potentially even get 100% compliance. But I think the goal is to steer things in the direction of getting away from something that we know is it doesn't make any sense to do anymore. And so I think that passing something like this, I think that doing the outreach and providing that is definitely a good path. But I don't think that I wouldn't want to see this held up in trying to get to a perfect solution where there's 100% compliance and that we have a super robust way to make sure everybody is doing it and that the right people are getting fined. I would kind of envision as somebody makes a complaint or something about this small business using styrofoam. And, then it's like, hey, you have a year to change over from styrofoam kind of thing, instead of issuing them a $200 fine or whatever. So I think it's a great initiative, and it's kind of a low-hanging fruit thing. Whereas if the city doesn't, the cost will ultimately be passed on to the customer. It just, may take some time for that to happen.
I have something I could throw out there maybe, if it, just gains traction and becomes something that, maybe we could start with like a small, like example, like right here in the City Hall Cafe, might be a good place to kind of start out with this.
Do you use styrofoam here?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's
Pilot.
let's do a pilot right here.
Well, I think though, before we go putting
Can't get that far.
before we go telling City Hall Cafe what to do, I don't know if that was an original part of what they were, kind of bid things on. It probably would have a little bit more vetting to do. But again, the Sustainability Council can put forth whatever kind of recommendations you think are appropriate. It sounds like you want to do a little bit more research on the impact to small businesses, which would also include City Hall Cafe. But I think that, again, once you have something to put forward, then it would need to go and be vetted through the various departments within the city.
Mary, you had your hand up, and then AC.
Yeah, you will have to excuse me or forgive me for my comments that I'm going to make. Now, one, public policy is not about other cities having done something. Public policy serves a purpose that is supposed to meet the needs of the community for which that public policy or ordinance is being created for. Number two, this is Lowell. Need I remind you that Lowell is an environmental justice community. 20% of the people who live here in Lowell are under the under the poverty line. Don't even forget that a majority are low and moderate income. And there's an influx of immigrants in Lowell who, chances are, don't even know what you're talking about when you talk about styrofoam. I get the health benefits, but I also get the economic benefits and why there should be procedural justice. Let's be careful not to minimize or trivialize issues of procedural justice where communities have been left behind for years. I've lived in Lowell for 20 years as an invisible person. And what I'm trying to say here, I'm not opposed to the styrofoam ban. One, show us what the environmental impacts of that ban are going to be and what the economic gains or loss to the community are going to be. We can't just say we want to ban something because other cities are banning. Other places have priorities. We have our own priorities too. So I care a lot, just like the rest of you, but in my list of climate issues, styrofoam is not number one. And without outreach to those specific communities, I would not be in support of such a thing. And I'm actually disheartened to hear some of the comments going around here. They're kind of insensitive.
Are we saying styrofoam causes cancer? Is that what we're saying?
So
I
how
know
about-
that. I know what I'm talking about. I know that. I'm an environmental policy person, so I'm not new. I understand climate policy from head to toe.
If you're talking about the economical issue too, like
No,
certain
listen,
restaurants
we are-
can pass the cost on to customers, like.
But that's so that's part of the
Is
problem.
that the immediate thing that a person who owns a Brazilian restaurant will be thinking about? We know there's cancer. Yeah, we do. But is that the first time when you go down on Gorham Street that business owner is going to be thinking about? You have to go out and speak to them and find out what they think. But we can't sit here and think that we can decide that on their behalf. There are 20 to 25% costs that have come up from styrofoam bans across the country. This is not a small issue. It's a big issue.
So I think
Oh.
I'm just going to say something quick. So Ryan has a lot of the impacts in the letter that he wrote and circulated. So let's all, between this meeting and the next, like read the letter. And Ryan, if you have like other stuff that you want to send out about it, maybe like a short like spiel on some of the things that Mary like mentioned, economic impacts and the economic benefits.
I'm talking about Lowell. What's the impact to Lowell?
Right.
How much waste is that we are trying to reduce?
I was wondering, along Mary's point, while you're researching and you have groups to meet with and, refine this, it takes a long time to write policy, to Mary's point. Is there any way you can take the research you've done and maybe create some sort of an educational only tool that we can promote within the groups rather than come up with the law and now this is the law? We can at least start on that part. We can get this information to them and they can make decisions while you're doing your research and writing the policy.
Yeah, and I want to so a few things. I definitely, Mary, want to affirm that need to include everybody. And so I'm sorry if I, jumped the gun, and I would be totally happy to draft a list and start to talk with people about what the barriers are. And because you're totally right? We shouldn't be just, pushing something through when we don't know how it's going to impact the people who live here that we represent. And so yeah, I'm totally happy to do that and kind of put the brakes on, make sure we're listening to everybody. I think that's kind of my main thing I wanted to say. I see Cormac's hand.
Yep, so Cormac, go ahead, and then we gotta close this out at 7:10, so we can keep this on the agenda for further discussion too. So Cormac, go ahead.
Yeah, I think my hand was sorry, my hand was left up, but yeah, I mean, just generally as a general comment, I hear what you're saying, Mary. I think that what I'm hearing is that you want to make sure that these business owners are not blindsided, and so providing them that information may be helpful for them. And so thanks, Ryan, for taking this on.
Jay, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to add, and Mary, I certainly hear and respect your thoughts. I do wonder if you are making an assumption that the costs can't be equalized. Again, I haven't seen enough evidence to tell me that there are no economical...
I'm not making the assumption. I'm not making any assumption. And I'm not anti-styrofoam.
You're not anti-styrofoam?
Yeah, I'm asking for procedural justice based on the composition of the demographics of Lowell.
I don't understand. If the economics are not a factor, then why would that be an issue?
They are a factor, Jay.
But you said you're not assuming that they're not a factor. So how do you know that they're not available?
I know that the cost increase because I read a lot and I work on climate policy across the entire nation. So I've seen these kind of conversations elsewhere. So what I'm saying is, in the case of Lowell, go to those folks and talk to them about the ban. And when we get to a place where we are pushing for the ban, let's do something that can be implemented.
Can I continue?
We do a lot of things that carry no weight because they cannot be implemented. So
I just want to finish my statement, which was that if Dunkin' Donuts, who has, I think, 6 or 8 stores in Lowell, can switch over from styrofoam to paper, that's an indication to me, and it may be incorrect, but that's an indication to me that there is an economic parity. And I wonder if this is different than the lead pipe issue, right? We have lead pipes that are going to be very expensive to replace, but we have to do it because lead pipes are bad. And I believe that styrofoam is also bad, and I think we should at least consider what the options are. Should we talk to people? Absolutely. Do we get more buy-in? Absolutely.
The mentality you're presenting, Jay, is the reason for years the climate movement left behind environmental justice communities. And we cannot continue to speak that way or talk about issues in that manner. How do you dare compare Dunkin' Donuts with a mom and pop shop down the street? It's not possible. Lead pipe, bad. Styrofoam, bad. Procedural justice, good.
So I think we've reached a consensus where the next step is to actually just go out and talk to, I know there's a very good mom and pop, a foodie's haven that does styrofoam stuff, but she has the most delicious food. So like reach out to those people that you like, go to those restaurants or go to those, caterers and ask them, why do you use styrofoam? It might not even be a price issue. It might be because it holds the food better and it doesn't, do that thing that paper does. I forget what the word is. But anyway, so let's talk. I think as the Sustainability Council, we can go out and talk to our favorite restaurants that use styrofoam because there's a health aspect to it. So there is an environmental justice issue that like if people of lower economic status are using styrofoam for their foods, they're also getting poisoned more. So like, but there's lots of considerations. So I think, let's talk to people as the next step.
Yeah, but we don't want you to think on our behalf about our health issues.
Correct. Okay. So I think we've got next steps for this. I've drafted some questions that can we do that via email, Catherine? Circulate a list of questions that we might want to ask, what are the barriers to adoption for things that are not styrofoam? Can we circulate and collaborate on that?
I think it probably, just from an open meeting law perspective, makes more sense to kind of come up with those questions as a group. But it sounds like from the discussion, though, those questions can probably just be drawn out of the minutes. And so I think that would probably be the best, most in compliant with the board membership.
Okay, sounds good. This was a good, productive discussion. I hope everybody's happy with the next steps of just going out there and engaging with the community and these restaurants that it's probably going to be most likely to affect. So good stuff. I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is is it the summit? Okay, so this is the thing that's gonna take up the most, discussion. Yeah, so, and it's 7:17, and we're here till 8. So,
I can provide you with some updates that were part of the last meeting. Some things I have updates on, some things I don't have updates on. So I'll start with the things I do have updates on. So we do have places based on your recommendations for providing food and getting different things like that. So we have a budget for food. We'll work to we're still trying to confirm how to engage the culinary students at the high school, so we don't have a purchase order or things like that. So that's still kind of to be determined. Same thing on outreach to some of the other providers you have, but we do have a budget for that, and so we should be able, once we get those extra steps in place and those confirmations, to initiate the purchase order process and move forward with that. Another budgetary item that you had indicated was awards for your different categories that you're looking to recognize. Although we can probably find the budget for that, we may not be able to specifically use the Lowell Makes vendor because it's not a typical kind of vendor that you would have through that, but we can also work with some of our vendors that we do on a more regular kind of basis within DPW to provide those kind of awards. So I can reach out to them on that. The other piece that you had asked about a budget for was for things like office supplies, charts, things like that. Again, we can use that within some standard budget categories that we have, so we can do that. So it would just be a matter of what specifically would you be looking to do, what kinds of materials would you need, how do you look to engage people, etc. We're still working as well on getting confirmation of the venue and the timing. I know that the Lowell High School was kind of the first preferred choice. We haven't nailed that down yet, so that's still in progress. And if we can't get that confirmed within the next month, then I would move on to the Stocklosa School. So those are the updates we have on our end.
awesome. Thank you so much for doing that work. So it's November 21st. We're hoping to have this maybe early February at this point. It'll be important to get a date nailed down more than a location, I'm guessing, but you can't really do one without the other. So what am I saying? So just to get invitations and give people a heads up about when and where this will happening. So, yeah, if, is that something that you could communicate to us over email instead of wait till the next month goes by? If you find
I think for the monthly updates, I can have an update for you in the December timeframe, even if you don't meet in December. I'm still happy to provide the monthly updates as long as there's not broad discussion. So I think once we kind of get the venue and open dates at that different venue, I think you can kind of confirm the dates at your next meeting and discuss exactly what's going to happen, when, timing, things like that.
Okay. All right. So we'll hear from you on, like, before our next meeting on potential, like, whether or not we could use either of those venues and what times and dates. Okay. Cool. Well, this all sounds like good news. Something we'll need to do ASAP is like the call for nominations for the awards. Ryan, I saw you did a really nice mock-up on like the flyer on the Summit Drive.
I believe that. It's been a while. I need to look back at it.
It looks really good though.
Thanks.
So I would say the next step is to send out a call for nominations and use that flyer that you did, Ryan, and I can work with you on this, on like saying that the date and time of the summit itself will be in a certain time frame, like final date TBD. But we can use this invite list to send those call for nominations out, I think.
If you have something mocked up as well, we can also share it with our communication team on their social media page as well from the city.
That would be great. All right, so I don't do anything without a deadline. So for Ryan, like within a week, and if anybody else wants to, also Vic is a graphic designer. So if anybody wants to also like collaborate on this, let's try to get that finalized and like sent out to the city to send out to their social media contacts.
Did you say it was on the Google Docs drive?
Yeah, there's a Google Drive for the Sustainability Council, and there's a specific
don't see
folder that's for the summit.
Oh, I don't
And,
see it.
Yeah, it's called Summit, and then 2024. It's 2024 Summit, but it's gonna happen in 2025. So it's there. So let's work on that within a week and get those out.
Great. Yeah, and that's just, so we're gonna put together a call for nominations then, is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
And last year they all got sent to the like LSC email, so we'll just do that same thing.
Do you want to send out the nomination form that we used last year?
Yes, we have a nomination form. Nomination, I'll also give myself a week to do that.
And what is the LSC email?
I think it's lowellsustainabilitycouncil@gmail.com. But
Fitting.
I'm pretty sure. I don't have internet, so I can't tell you. It's on our flyer from last year, but I can't see it because I don't have internet.
Oh.
Anyway. So we have already like we went over last time sort of the agenda that we do at the summit, and we have sort of like a committee and a list of things to do. Does anyone have anything that like needs to be done besides the call for nominations that needs to happen like ASAP that we should get working on? Or any further discussion about the summit? We talked about ideas for speakers, and I think the idea of the summit would be to focus on what the newly formed sustainability division is up to and doing, and celebrate that we have one. It's the first year, so.
It's not coming up on my account.
The
Lowell Sustainability Council at gmail.com.
All right, well, I will include in my follow-up email our email address. I know we have one, because I know what the password is, but I don't know the actual email address. Okay, do you have any questions about any of that? Anyone else have any discussion or questions about this? All right, well, we've got lots of new business, Catherine, that I think you're gonna update us on, one of which is very exciting, that Lowell and Springfield got selected for the.
Yeah, so the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center selected a pilot project in Lowell and in Springfield for the Home Modernization Navigator. And in our monthly updates, I gave you the link to that. They're doing a soft rollout throughout November with a more formal kind of rollout after the beginning of the year. I think the purpose of the soft rollout is just to make people aware that this is a resource where people can go, because we know as you're starting to look at decarbonization technologies. There's so many different things that you can do, and there's so many different incentives and programs, and how does it all fit together? And so the idea behind this navigator is to make it easier to really navigate through those kinds of options. There's also a call center that has multiple languages represented if people feel more comfortable speaking with people, an actual person, instead of navigating a website. But we think that it's going to be a really important tool to help our residents to move towards the net zero goals for the Commonwealth. And we're really honored and excited that Lowell and Springfield are the places that are going to pilot. We're going to help them work all of the different bugs out of their system, and hopefully we can really help to push our residents and others to really look at what they can do, not only to improve their carbon footprint, but also to improve the quality of their lives and the quality of their homes. And, they're looking to engage homeowners, renters, those that own rental properties. It's focusing on 1 to 4 unit buildings initially, and we're really excited about it. We were really honored. Like I said, only 2 cities were chosen for this honor, and I think one of the reasons that they were chosen is because of the work that we're doing around engaging our residents, the work of our energy advocate. And with that, I would open it up for any questions. And the answer might be, I don't know yet, but go ahead.
This is the Community First Partnership?
No, this is under other. Oh, sorry. It's actually under the sustainability updates. And it's the final kind of bullet under projects, and it has other, and it's the home modernization navigator.
So would this link on this piece of paper be actionable?
Yes, it is live now.
Mary has her
But
hand.
I need the I'd need an electronic version of this.
Yeah, I think that you're actually on our distribution list, and you should have that, but if not, I can follow up and resend it to
Well,
you.
I can call the energy advocate. What's his number?
Yeah, you can call Victor as well, but I mean, if he gave you a website, I'm not sure that it's as helpful if I can just send you the website. But yeah, Victor, anybody that you ever want to talk to Victor, his number is 978-674-1408. And we're looking to, as we launch this, kind of have a cross-pollination, the people that come to Victor, making them aware that there's this navigator for the broader energy picture, and people that come to the navigator, making them aware that there's a person that can provide that same kind of one-to-one experience for Mass Save through that. Yeah, sorry.
Mary?
Yeah, Catherine,
Yes.
it's not by accident that Lowell got selected. Some of us
Thank
have
you,
really
Mary.
advocated for Lowell to get selected.
We
Now,
always appreciate your advocacy.
so the idea behind that navigator is from the Clean Heat Commission's recommendations for a building decarbonization clearinghouse. This is not the clearinghouse, but it is exploring that single point of contact for all building decarbonization programs. So while the links are working, it's sort of a soft rollout. And so if you call and things are not, going well, don't be upset. They're going to really roll it out at the beginning of the year. That's when all hands will be on deck.
Thank you for that clarification, Mary, and for always advocating for Lowell. And communities like Lowell.
So that might be good messaging too, to like share with other people that are interested. So Mary, I would defer to you. I mean, not Mary, Catherine. I would defer to you on like how can we support this as a sustainability council? Would you like us to like share this with everybody we know at the supermarket and on Facebook, or should we wait maybe a little bit until the beginning of the year?
I think at the beginning of the year, more of the bugs will be worked out. But, if you want to be a part of helping us to work those kinds of challenges out, if you would want to call and sort of say, okay, this is where I had trouble, this is where, things were working well and things like that. But I think we're looking at more formally launching a rollout of this program at the beginning of the year because it just got up, I think, within the last week or two. It's very, very new, and I feel like the team that Mass CEC selected to roll out this program is very, very skilled, and they have a deep bench and a lot of insight into these kinds of programs. But I think if we are rolling it out to the broader community, just setting that expectation that it is a very new program and it might just take a little while to put all the pieces together. If Mary would agree with that assessment.
Oh, go ahead, Mary.
I'm thinking that even if we share out even if we tell people about it, we should always, include our energy advocate as part of that communication.
Agreed.
It's kind of dead ending on me. You get to English and that's as far as you can go, so it definitely has some.
Yeah, so if you're discovering those kinds of things, just send that feedback. You can send that feedback directly to me and I'll communicate with the team that's rolling it out. And, I think everybody has my email, but it's kmoses, MOSES, @lowellma.gov. And we want to work some of these bugs out of the system. Where are you hitting the problems? Does everything work if you have a second or third language? What do we need to do to make this even more of a user-friendly focus kind of system?
Why don't we complain in February and not in November or December?
Valid point, Mary, valid point.
This might be a good thing for us to share and talk about at the summit. I'm happy to be a guinea pig now and test things out, but not.
It's not fully rolled out, so
yeah.
It's a piece of good news that is in the works.
But I think people are going to be disappointed if they go on it expecting results and they get stymied. It might make sense to kind of either not roll it out until it's ready or perhaps be available to take questions.
We don't have our CECP goals don't have the luxury of time. You can send the complaints at any time, but I'm just saying as a matter of fact that it's not fully rolled out, but it's good news for those who've been working on this. So if you want to complain in November or December, that's fine.
Cormac?
Yeah, could I, I did take a look at it. It looks cool. Is its primary function outside of other sort of websites that kind of give you a gist of like Mass CEC and stuff has information on how you can sort of take advantage of the different incentives that the state has? Is the main function of this that you have someone that you can call to, I guess, get a more personalized approach to doing more sustainability initiatives within your house and whatever? Is that the main difference that's between this and another website that exists that you're kind of saying that is kind of it's a challenge to kind of navigate all the different options and that the goal is for this to be an all-in-one place?
So this is what happened. Massachusetts had a Clean Heat Commission. The Clean Heat Commission issued a report. And one of the recommendations in that report was that people in the Commonwealth should be able to have one single point of contact that can help them from barrier mitigation for weatherization and electrification to getting a heat pump, to getting a solar panels, and to getting storage. Right now in Massachusetts, you cannot get your home decarbonized fully from pre-barrier mitigation to storage if you wanted that to happen, because all these programs are housed in different places in the Commonwealth. Therefore, the recommendation said that we should think about creating a decarbonization clearinghouse. The creation of the clearinghouse is in process, or the discussion that has to do with what form that clearinghouse should look like is in process. However, MassCEC, being the state's climate laboratory, if you want to think about it that way, has selected environmental justice communities like Lowell and Springfield to try and test that idea.
Okay, so the maybe the main thing that I didn't get is the clearinghouse aspect. So, but so as far as the deliverables, it's essentially a website and people that you can talk to, right? Or is there something else that I'm missing?
I don't know whether it is people. What it is that if I want to decarbonize my house up to solar, you can't get that when you go to MassSave. But if you use the navigator, it's supposed to help you up to sustainable transportation. I guess that's what they have said. So it's a single point of contact. It's going to be like a pilot. So some of these things we are going to learn along.
Okay. And as a single point of contact, like there's an actual person that will be like your guide, or is it the single point of contact, the website?
I don't know yet.
So I have a little background on this since I used to do home energy assessments. And I did it for one of the companies that was the largest at that point. I was also the only one running home energy assessments in Spanish, giving Spanish household English documentation, which made no sense to me. They didn't have a Spanish option. But the way that the MassSave program works now is that it's like the state has all these funds, and then there are like, let's say 20 companies actually doing this assessment. So I love this idea of having it in one place, because especially in communities like Lowell, where it's very diversified, you have all these different languages, that community needs a little bit more of a helping hand. When I was doing those assessments for Spanish speakers only, I had to hold their hand throughout the whole process, and explaining to them exactly who is doing what. Even for an English speaker who understands, it was very hard to navigate exactly what was your next step, because the way that the MassSave program runs, or decarbonizing your home, it is done by different groups. Like MassSave doesn't do solar. They only do weatherization. So I love this. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of exactly how it's now and how this is going to be much better for the community.
Yeah, it kind of like brings all of the technologies together. Kind of like what we did with Solarize Lowell, the plus. We did the solar plus the heat pumps, but like plus the weatherization, plus the EV. It is so exciting. I'm excited to see what happens in Lowell. And I'm assuming they would do like translated documents, and especially in Lowell and Springfield, if those are the two pilots.
Yeah, they have translated their website into the major non-English languages that are spoken in each community, and they're also setting it up to where that language representation is available for the call-in center as well. So.
Exciting. Great. And so the city's involvement is, first of all, being part of this, getting to be one of the communities that are piloting, but Victor interact with Mass CEC? How does it all kind of work together?
Yeah, so that's what we're still kind of working around, because ideally what we'd like to do is when somebody comes to Victor, that he can also point them to the broader navigator and, say that this is a place that you can go to go even further. I can get you started with the Mass Save Home Energy Assessment and the different measures that you can do there, but there's a broader ecosystem if you want to go deeper, and vice versa, that when people call into the navigator, if they want to go through all these different things, we can get you started by starting you out with home energy assessments through Lowell's Energy Advocate. I think some of the challenges around that are in the program administrators for Mass Save, and just making sure that you're protecting people's individual data and how those leads can be shared and how they can't be shared, and where it makes sense or doesn't make sense to do that. So some of those details are being worked out, but since the same vendor is running this pilot as is managing the Energy Advocates Community First Partnership, we know that there's going to be close collaboration among all those kinds of things. And we're very excited to be able to work all of the bugs out so that this can be shared with the broader Commonwealth and particularly the EJ communities. So.
Cool. I filled out an interest thing and I got an email back. So I'm happy to be like a guinea pig, not to complain about any issues that I encounter, but to go through it and see what happens. So, cool. Any other?
What's that website that we can check out?
I think if you Google Home Modernization Navigator, Lowell, Mass CEC, it would come up. I sent a link. I can actually text you the link because I texted it to Jay.
Thank you.
I just threw it in the chat.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. Amazing. We've got a one-stop shop. Cool. Let's keep going. Congratulations, by the way, Catherine. That's really exciting.
So I can provide you just some brief additional updates for the month in terms of what we're doing in the sustainability division, grants that we've applied for, et cetera. So we still have all of the grants that we had last month that are active. We also applied for an additional grant for the 2025 to 2027 Community First Partnership. It's a total of $255,930 over 3 years. They're kind of changing how they're doing the Community First Partnership over the next 3 years. I'm sure very much due to the advocacy of our wonderful Mary Wambui, but also a lot of the success we've been able to demonstrate in Lowell. So for the next 3-year plan, they will be funding full-time energy advocates in communities and also providing funding for their benefits. There's going to be a smaller marketing budget than has been available in the past, and we think that by having this kind of model that you'll be able to allow for deeper engagement, because those are the kinds of things that we've found with, particularly with Victor's work. One of the great things that he's done is he's really grown himself to be a very trusted voice within the community, offering comprehensive energy solutions for people, and the number of people he reaches just continues to grow year over year. This past month in October, he sent an additional 14 people to the Mass Save program through his one-to-one efforts, not including other marketing kind of efforts, 8 people to join the aggregation, 7 for the discount program, and 3 for fuel assistance. One of the other things that we're doing through his office, which goes not only in upcoming events, but also in our updates for sustainability, we're having a heat pump party. It's scheduled for December 2nd at the Pollard Library. It runs from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and they're going to have people from the Heat Smart Alliance there to give a one-on-one for heat pump technology, helping answer people's questions. There's going to be time for one-to-one discussions questions afterwards, talking a little bit potentially about the navigator, how this fits into the broader thing. There's going to be food provided. We're going to be putting out different kinds of messaging over the next week or so through the city's social media page. We've done targeted mailings to neighborhoods or households that have delivered fuels and electric resistance heat, because we know that the economics work best for those kinds of families. But anybody from the public is welcome to attend. RSVPs can go either directly to Victor or to his kind of generic email, which is gosaveenergy@lowelandmay.gov.
Oh, is there an RSVP link, or should we just email Victor and say, I'm going to be there?
You can just email him, and if you email to the Go Save Energy, that's kind of an easier, more generic thing. Like I said, we're going to actually be doing additional things within the communities. We were hoping to be able to put door hangers in the neighborhoods that have high concentrations of the delivered fuels and electric resistance heat. There was a communication error with our partner on this, so we're not sure if that's going to be able to happen, but if we can pull it off by Tuesday, and if anybody is interested in assisting in that kind of outreach, let us know.
Oh, and Mary has her hand up.
Yeah,
Mary,
go ahead.
do you have a question?
It's just a comment, Catherine. I think you and I should talk a little bit more about about the enrollment of residents on the discount rate. Sort of tracking what Lowell directly does.
Yeah, we definitely have
like what you guys do versus what what National Grid does. So National Grid is going to get a tiny little bit of performance incentive for increasing the enrollment of discount rate customers. And I was thinking that maybe we, Lowell, should actually track our contribution to that end. Maybe we can talk more about that.
Well, we happen to have a spreadsheet for that, Mary, so I'd be happy to gather data on the direct referrals that Victor has made to those kinds of services.
Yeah, Lowell should get a cut of that. You're doing the work.
Right? Well, hopefully they'll give us the $255,930 for the next 3 years. But yeah, but we're just excited to be able to serve our residents in a more robust way. And that was something that we also thought was very important from the beginning of the Community First Partnership and our Energy Advocates work. And Victor does an amazing job of it. But yeah, I'd be happy to pull that data for you, Mary.
Very cool. And the heat pump party, I hope everybody goes. It's in the library, and it's about heat pumps. So what's better than that?
Is it still possible to get a $10,000 rebate from the state, from CEC?
Per unit. It's not from CEC, it's from the state, from Mass Save. Yeah.
Mass Save?
Yep. Yep.
It's from your own contribution.
Yes. Yes. It's from your own dollars that you
Ratepayer funded energy efficiency.
Correct.
And so other just small updates. We finished our final phase of lighting at our Stocklosa school. We have substantial completion for energy efficient transformers at the Lincoln Elementary, and we're contracting and have started work at 7 additional facilities for LED lighting upgrades. I think everybody here probably knows that Lowell had received a $15 million Department of Energy grant for Renew America schools. We know that that's a very exciting thing, and we're moving forward with our negotiations as part of that, but we know that there's going to be a lot more work to be done than that money will cover, so we're continuing to put energy efficiency projects within the queue. And that is it for our sustainability updates, unless people have questions. If not, I'd be happy to provide a status of new members being appointed by the city manager, if that's helpful. The way that Members of boards occur, they are advertised through our HR department. You put in an application, and then those applications are kind of vetted through multiple departments. Ultimately, the city manager is the one who would make the recommendation for the appointment, put it on the city council agenda. And I think the challenge is, like everything in Lowell, there are always so many different things that are going on that sometimes these processes take a little bit of time, but rest assured, we're continuing to move forward and refine the process of how we fill our boards and how they kind of work their way through the system. So even though I can't give you guaranteed timelines, just know that it is in process, and we'll continue to keep the council updated on membership as it gets confirmed.
Awesome, thank you. Can I ask a question? And I bet your answer is going to be no, so it's okay. And I'm just saying that ahead of time. Since it takes a little bit, which is totally understandable, if we have like a certain amount of people here that come regularly to meetings but aren't necessarily official members, and we don't have a lot of voting things, can we still have a meeting if like we show up even if there's not a quorum? And it's okay if your answer is no.
Unfortunately, the answer is no. It has to be for confirmed members to reach the quorum threshold.
Okay.
But great question, Michaela.
And you know, it's winter. If we're all trekking here in the snow, it'd be a shame to just go home, but I get it. I get it. The rules.
How long has it been since the initial applications? Like how long has it been delayed?
I don't have an answer on that because I don't know when the applications come in, and that's not really vetted through our office. It goes through HR and through the city manager.
It seems like it's been like a 6-month thing, or maybe a bit less.
I think Vic has probably been waiting the longest, very patiently, but
Yeah. Okay.
so
All right.
we'll just keep showing up. And it's good to have the Zoom option, even though sometimes things happen. Okay, so it is 7:54, so we have 6 minutes. This is like the first time we've ever ended early. You've got a lot of grants going on, Catherine. This is really awesome.
Yeah, like I said, most of the grants are ones that are kind of ongoing grants that we're continuing to implement, and still waiting to hear on a couple of them, but we're very excited about all of the things, although it's fascinating to go through the federal grant process because that's something
Fascinating's a good way to put it.
like I've never experienced before, but I know in the end we're going to have a lot of good work that's done for our schools because of that. And so I'm very excited about that. I guess one thing I did forget to include in our sustainability updates, but I think we've talked about it on city council, and we've had a meeting at the senior center as well, and probably everybody has seen it in their mailbox, is that we are with the December meter reads, we're going to be offering multiple products for our aggregation. We're going to be offering our standard default product, which has 45% more RECs than required by the renewable portfolio standard. We're going to have an option to opt up to 100% renewable mass class 1 RECs, which I've done. I encourage other people to follow my lead if it's within their budget. And then we're going to have an option that's 5% above RPS for those who have tighter budgets. We're looking to continue to educate our community about this. We had a good attendance at the senior center and a lot of good questions and things to think about. We're looking to see if we can roll that into some of our neighborhood group meetings as well. If you think there's somebody that we should speak to help people to navigate those kinds of things, you can just let us know. The opt-out period, I think, goes through the end of the month. Of course, you know, with our municipal aggregation for residential customers, they can opt in, opt out, change products at any time. So we're here to help them with those flexible options as well. Question, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know, as a side question, did the school building committee meet today, do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right, doesn't matter. Do you know what the status of the solar is on the high school?
Yeah, so the solar, we've already been working with our contractor to start to do some of the prep work within the electrical room and things like that. We're still trying to finalize everything with different things like roof warranties and things like that for what we've done, but we're still on track to get our solar sooner rather than later. But, like everything else, I feel like in the municipal world, things always take longer than we originally anticipate, but it is still on track to have those beautiful systems up there. And I'll be sure to invite you to the ribbon cutting.
Do you know
Yes.
when, approximately?
Well,
Do you have a target date?
I mean, I always have a target date, but until we actually don't know how long it'll take to get these other pieces in place, I'd be hesitant to say it.
Still doing the commissioning stuff or the paperwork stuff?
Yeah, so for what we're looking to do for the solar, there are 4 places where we have new solar-ready roofs through the MSBA Accelerated Repair Program as well as the MSBA Core Program. So the Core Program will have roofs at the new Freshman Academy and the gym and having those solar systems in there. So that's one area. Another area is the Robinson Middle School, just got a new roof. The McAuliffe Elementary School right next door, and then the Wang Middle School over in Pawtucketville. But while those are finishing up, they're still getting final punch lists on a lot of those MSBA projects. When those are completed, we're going to be going in behind them. Like I said, preliminary work around preparing things in electrical rooms, and those conversations are happening on a weekly basis. So.
And the high school and the Freshman Academy building, those are both 200 plus kW?
I don't have the exact numbers with me right now, but I think the system is close. I think it's close to 400. I think it's close to 400 kW for the 2. But don't quote me on that because I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me. But yeah.
I'd be so excited with that.
But I mean, basically with these 4 projects, once we do get them completed, that's going to more than double our behind the meter solar that we have across our municipal portfolio. And of course, as part of Renew America Schools, we'd be looking to bring even more of that online, or at least look at evaluating all of that and then seeing when we can get things in the queue.
Is that on here? Oh, yeah, Renew American Schools.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And it would be great if some of the future projects could benefit some low-income residents in Lowell and get more of a tax credit.
Well, I think that's, again, above my pay grade. But I think it's one of those things where, at the same time, it's my understanding that the low-income tax credit was the one that was most oversubscribed in the enhancements of the IRA.
That's if you're located in a low-income census tract, but the one where you're benefiting, I think it has to be 50% of the production gets allocated to low-income recipients with a discount of 20% or more.
Yeah, and
So 20%.
I think one of the things that we're looking at in terms of what you're talking about is we're watching the state Solar for All grant.
Yep.
So the Massachusetts got a Solar for All grant. They're in the process of developing what that would look like to have sub-recipients. But I think the kind of thing that you're describing is the type of thing that we would be looking at more through that kind of vehicle versus what we have around our schools and things like that. But until we know what they're actually funding and what's eligible and where it's eligible and how it's all going to function, I can't really say much more than that. But I think, to your point, I think having that benefit for low-income customers and being able to make it something that's more turnkey and easy to understand, because I can't tell you how many people come into our office and talk to Victor about these solar deals that they got when they buy into the solar farms, but they don't really understand what they're buying into and how kind of like the things flow from that. But I think that there can be solutions, and I think that's what Solar for All will probably be for us, but we'll wait and see what they come up with.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you more about that kind of stuff.
Well, if they get a pond out on the street, I will put it on our next agenda.
Cool.
So,
Cool. All right, well, we are at 8:01, so, unless anyone has something urgent, AC, what's up? You had your hand raised.
No, that was it. I was gonna say I have to hop off. I'm getting
Okay.
yelled at.
So do I have a motion to adjourn? Do we need that?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Well, yes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.